Hey, we're finally here. I'm here with my man, Josh Dobbs. Josh, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing well. How you doing, Chazzy?
Man, I'm so glad I got to do a little podcast with my guy. I'll keep you about 30 minutes. I know you got to eat lunch and then take a break and then get back here at 4. So I know you're pretty comfortable with all these things, right?
All good.
All right,
yeah.
So everybody maybe not know who Josh Dobbs is, even though we're sitting in the Woodgym in Knoxville, Tennessee. But Joshua was a quarterback at University of Tennessee. And I think you are in your third year with the Pittsburgh Steelers, correct?
Going into my third year, yeah.
Third year. Okay. So I like to open my first question with all my top act guys like Joshua. I want to know when you felt, when you knew that you were different than the others.
I think I kind of look back to like Pee Wee ball. I grew up playing sports since I was 5, football, baseball, and basketball.
You played all 3 sports?
All 3 sports.
Up until when?
Up until high school. Then freshman year, I played all 3. And then after that, I just played football and baseball to finish out high school.
Okay, so you were a 2-sport guy through high school.
Yep.
Yeah, because I love guys that do more than one sport. Do you believe in that too?
Definitely. I think, we live in a world of specialization. So like so many, I guess, parents, coaches, like push their kids to just do one thing. Like they play baseball and they only play first base, they only play second base. And they're good at that skill, but they're not a great athlete, all-around athlete, because they're not playing basketball, getting the overall athleticism you need. They're not getting the toughness from football. So I think the more sports you play, especially while you can, have the time and energy, playing for as long as you can. And then when that time comes where it's kind of like they're going to pay me to go to school to play this sport, that's when you should make a decision.
But you feel like, I didn't know you, again, these podcasts are awesome. My engineer over there is laughing at me. She's under the weather today, but she's got to suck it up. But it wasn't my fault.
Yes, it was.
No, it wasn't, but it wasn't. Damn it. Okay. I never knew you played baseball.
Love baseball. Like it was the first sport I really started playing when I was 4.
Okay.
So.
Did you love it more than football? Because I know a lot of the guys from the Harrisons at Chad's, they had a different love.
Right.
But like Chad's first love, Chad Pennington that played with the Jets for 10 years and Dolphins that I've had since 15 years of age at a Webb High School, he was a hell of a basketball player. He loved basketball, but only the small schools came calling for it. So we knew that he was going to play baseball. But he played all 4 years.
Yeah. So when I came out of college, I had my final decision came down to Tennessee for football and Stanford for baseball. And so I love Stanford school. Obviously, we know how well renowned Stanford is. And I kind of like sat there. My dad posed me with the question. He said, "Which one can you live without? Which one can't you live without?" So I kind of sat there on my bed and I thought, I love baseball, but if I'm sitting at Stanford and every Saturday comes around, I'm watching college football and I'm not the starting QB out there, I knew there would be a part of me missing. So that's ended up why I chose football and came to Tennessee. So
interesting. That is interesting because the guy you just trained with, Harrison Smith, the Viking safety, his top 3 were Notre Dame, UT, Stanford.
Wow. And
we talked about that yesterday, that he could have really went to Stanford if he thought about it, did different things or whatever, but chose his route with Notre Dame. But that's interesting. Okay, so were you like the 3-star, the 4-star, the 5-star type guy? I didn't know much about you until I had my own introduction with you 3 years ago.
Right.
And then we hit it off and, been brothers ever since and, family and come chill and live with me and trade and all that. But were you the 3-star, 4-star that could have went anywhere in the country?
Yeah, I had a lot of good looks. My recruiting is a little different because I knew I wanted to go somewhere that had engineering. So I kind of cut some schools down. So I remember I went on one visit, and I won't say the name of the school, but we got there and we started meeting with the academic people. They're talking about the business school. They're talking about various things. And I go, "Okay, where's the engineering school?" And they go, "Oh, we don't have an engineering program here." And then the OC looks at me and says, "I hope that's not a deal breaker," But in my head, I said, no, of course, I was polite.
Sure.
But I knew I wanted to go to school for engineering, so that was a priority. So I kind of narrowed down the schools that I was interested in based on, hey, who has the major and which campus do I genuinely like and feel at home at. And so it kind of helped me reduce the process. I mean, I had a ton of offers, but you can't see all the schools, so you have to find some type of criteria to reduce them down to figure out which schools are you seriously interested in.
What were your I know Harrison's top 3. What were your top 3?
So I was committed to Arizona State for 6-7 months. So Arizona State was one of them.
You said you were
I was committed there.
You were committed. I didn't want to say that word unless he said it first, but yeah. I was
committed. Yeah, I was committed. I was
Really?
committed there for a while, like 6 months. I committed there maybe March after my junior year in high school.
So were you a flat-out baller in high school?
I led the state in passing my senior year, and I didn't start until my junior year of high school. Like most kids, especially at QB, they start freshman year on, so they start getting looked early. I kind of was a late bird just due to the schools I went to and different things. Different
Did you play defense?
No, I didn't. I just played offense.
Just offense?
Just had a one-way school.
Okay.
But, yeah, so I didn't start until my junior year. So the spring after my junior year is when all the offers started coming in. And then so by the time I got to my senior year, it was like who's who of coaches coming to see you play, stuff like that. So.
And did you just ball? Did you do the whole Nike camp stuff and all that type of jazz?
I did Elite 11 when I came out.
You did a 7-on-7 team? Did you do that? Was that big then? Or
it wasn't big. And I was playing travel baseball. So in the summer, I always missed 7-on-7 because of travel baseball. But I did do the Elite 11 circuit. I was in the top 11 QBs in my class. So I did as much of the circuit game. It wasn't as intense back then as it is now with 7-on-7 camps, all this stuff going on.
Right.
So it was literally just Elite 11, Nike opening, and then that's basically all you had.
I mean, I work with so many kids that do the 7-on-7, and they're always back and forth with the parents about, like, should we train some more, do the 7-on-7, will it help them? You know, I always have an answer, but how would you think about the 7-on-7 now to, like, okay, does that get you your scholarship? Does that get you noticed, or is that just, icing on the cake, but it's not the cake?
Right. I don't know all the rules, but I don't think coaches can go to 7-on-7 tournaments. So I think it's good maybe just for general football, just playing the game. Obviously 7-on-7 is not real football.
Right.
So you take away a lot of the real game of football from it.
But it takes up their 3 or 4 months. It's like, okay, now they're staying in that same direction of the same patterns of foot movement. I look at all the things biomechanically of, like, I think you're more suspect for injury playing something year-round, me personally.
I think they should go play another sport. Football, baseball. Yeah. I mean, sorry, you're already playing football. So baseball, basketball, run track.
Yeah.
I know that's great for biomechanics.
Right.
Do other stuff so you're not burned out when it comes around to football season.
Because you're doing – so you didn't do the 7-on-7 as much as just playing ball.
Right, just play ball.
Got it.
My football season was spring and mid-season.
So what made you God, we could go long because there's some stuff that just opened up that we could nail. Is what made you decommit from ASU? So your 3 schools were ASU, UT,
Stanford, and then actually Princeton, Ivy League school. I went to Ivy League school. I would have gone to Princeton.
Okay.
So I did an official visit up there and everything.
So you did the whole gamut.
So I had schools from every region.
So did you have an aha
moment?
Yes.
So it's funny. My Tennessee recruitment's really funny. Coach Jones got there maybe December, so two months before signing day. Still committed to Arizona State. And they call me the first day they get the job, him and Coach Bajakian. And they're calling and saying, hey, we're trying to take another QB in this recruiting class. We would love for you to be the guy. And when they first called me, honestly, I was thinking, hey, I'm pretty committed to Arizona State. I know I have a couple visits, but it's probably going to be Arizona State or Stanford baseball or football. So I didn't shrug them off. I was very receptive, but in the back of my head, I was saying, I don't think I'm going to open up to exploring new schools at this point. I've been committed for this long. So time passed. I ended up taking my official visit to Stanford, Princeton, Arizona State. Arizona State visit was really fun. I loved the coaching staff. But something like when I left campus, I was kind of like, I don't know, like coming this far away from home, all these other factors. I just don't know if this is the place for me. I didn't know. I still loved it. Still committed, but didn't really truly know if it was the place for me. So my recruiting visit to Tennessee came, and it was my 18th birthday. It was Saturday, and I remember it was yesterday. It was Friday night of when the official visit starts, and the coach would call me and say, "Hey, come up and visit." It's like, no, I don't think I'm gonna come. Maybe I'll come like Sunday, because at that point I just traveled to 4 different schools all across the country. I'm tired, just want to enjoy my birthday with my friends at home. And so I'm sitting in the bed, and my dad comes into my room and drags me and puts me in the car and says, all right, we're going to Tennessee. If they're going to offer you a scholarship and they're a great university, we're going to go at least explore them and check out all the opportunities. So I reluctantly got in the car, drove up to Tennessee.
So your dad?
My dad.
Had a big part?
Yeah. He literally put me in the car. And once we got here, I just fell in love with the campus. The coaching staff was amazing. Campus was amazing. They had what I wanted to study. It just feels like home when you come up here, and it was closer to home for me. So it ended up turning into the perfect fit. It's crazy. I would have never known if, like, literally my dad didn't pull me and put me in the car and drive me up here.
If your pops did, yeah. Wow. That's cool. His eyes are ahead of your eyes. So that's what's cool about that.
So I ended up committing to Tennessee on signing day. So it was a tough call to call Arizona State and decommit the day before signing.
I was about to say, how did you do that?
My dad, he made me do the call. He said, I know a lot of kids probably, like their parents probably do the call, decommit, or they just post it on Twitter. But I mean, this world we're in is all about people. It's all about relationships. And so you don't want to burn any bridges, right? So obviously I love the coaching staff. It just wasn't the right fit for me. So I was able, it was tough. Like as an 18-year-old, you got to call this coach who's literally, you've been playing ping pong in your basement with him. You know, you have a good relationship with him. You can tell him, hey coach, like I'm about to decommit and go to a different school. So you imagine it's a tough conversation, but I was glad my dad made me do it because it really opened my eyes and prepared me for various situations, tough conversations I've had to have with like family members, teammates, or just the random awkward conversation you have to have on a day-to-day basis. That situation prepared me for a lot of different situations that have occurred throughout life. So
wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so it was.
Well, no wonder you are who you are.
Yeah,
yeah. Thanks to mom and dad.
Mom and dad. Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So people actually decommit on Twitter?
Yeah, it's a crazy world. Wow. Do it for the likes. Do it for the retweets. They do it on Instagram now.
What are they? What's an example of? Hey, I'm
decommitting from yada yada school. I'm opening up my recruitment. Period.
And that's it.
Send the tweet.
Where, you know, a guy like you is calling the coach.
Like, hey, coach, I'm decommitting. This is
hard. At 18, that had to, I mean, it's hard for me at 50 to call people and go.
Have that conversation.
Hey, sorry I missed you today.
Yeah.
What about the coaches? What do they do? Like, they just follow Twitter and Insta?
Yeah, I mean, coaches nowadays, they have, you can turn on the alerts for all the recruits that you follow, and they have the alerts on their phone because now coaches can interact with players on Twitter. So they have the alerts on their phone. And that started like my senior year in college. So I mean, like my position coach will have the alert of like a guy he's recruiting come up across his phone so he can see like what he's doing, what he's tweeting, what
alert like something's coming
like
on social media.
Whenever the kid tweets, he has the alert, the tweet come across his phone.
So he could read it.
So he can see it. He can see everything, follow the kid, see what he's doing, just so he can help recruiting tool.
Holy, that's wild.
Yeah, it's an interesting recruiting world now. It's changed so much.
So then, well. Take me back to, like you said, Pee Wee, when I said, when did you know you were special? Well, did you just know that, like, you were more athletic, smarter, or whatever? But then you come to me and go, hey, I didn't play my first 2 years in high school.
Yeah.
So did you think you were still special in Pee Wee?
So in Pee Wee, I was the most talented kid on the field. But I felt like I just had a different mindset than kids. For instance, we would do this thing called power laps. And every single day, we would probably run 5 to 6 power laps, like 2 to start practice. There's like 8 to 10, like literally a lap around the field.
I was about to say, how old are you? 8
it's
to
a lot.
10.
And I never wanted to lose, like in those power laps. Just something so simple. Like half of them are warm up, some of them are punishment, some of them are conditioning at the end of practice. But I never wanted to lose the power lap. I kind of knew like then that like my mindset was different. My body development kind of was different than a lot of kids that I competed with. Like 8th grade, I was 5'7". 120 pounds.
Okay. I
got to high school and I was 6'1", 135 pounds. So like my freshman year, I went to a small Christian school. They had a senior QB, so obviously he played varsity. I played freshman / JV. I set like the JV touchdown passing record. The next year, I probably bulked up a little bit, probably got up to maybe like 150, if that. Probably around 6'2". And so another kid like came in, and we were constantly battling back and forth. There's a lot of politics that played into that. So it kind of put me behind just because coaches didn't have to play the best competition. So they didn't have to put the best kids on the field. So I ended up changing schools, go to a bigger school, better competition, also offered a bigger repertoire of AP classes. So because I knew I wanted to do aerospace, so I knew I had to take physics. My private school didn't even offer physics till a senior. In the other school, I could take several physics classes as a junior. So I knew it would be way far ahead once I get to college. So for several reasons, I ended up transferring. And I got to the school, there's like a senior quarterback there. The first game, they put me in the first drive of the second quarter. We were losing and threw a touchdown on the first drive and never looked back from there.
So then the senior got benched.
He ended up like switching positions and everything. And
that was
I
yours.
was the guy.
So it sounds like the difference maker for you was the mental state of it. Mm-hmm. And sure, you had the athleticism, but then the mental state of like, I don't want to lose on these, what you call them, top gunners?
We called them power laps.
Power laps.
That's when they're super young, but that's when that mindset kind of began.
That's when you knew you had something, because people downplay, disregard, whatever word you want to use about the mental aspect of an athlete. Mm-hmm. And I feel like what I've studied over the years with all these different coaches and all these great trainers and all the type A guys is we talk about an athlete, and the three things we use are skill, athleticism, and mental. Mm-hmm. And the mental approach, or even their mental way. And I think you have to have three of those to go pretty far,
right.
Climb the pyramid. Wouldn't you say?
I agree. I think mindset is a big part of it. Obviously sheer athleticism is going to weed people out high school to college. Obviously sheer just love of the game in college and mentality is going to weed people out in college to the NFL. By the time you get to NFL, it comes down to everyone's just as athletically gifted. It comes down to who's the ultimate competitor, who wants to win, who has a bigger will to win at the end of the day. And that's what it comes down to. I think whether it's on the football field, in the classroom, just walking around the corner, it's like you have that mindset where I never have a bad day. I'm always competing. I have a positive mindset. I think if you walk around with that type of attitude, you can go really far in this world.
And that's why I guess you're so, you living with me, I see, and then we're riding in the car, eating lunch or whatever we're doing, your mind seems like it's always active. And I think it's from the NASA stuff that you're talking about that, is, what I hear with you training you is like, oh, when is he going to go over to the other side of his hobby or love and not football? And how do you take that? Because it seems like everybody discredits the football proudness that you have to, oh, he wants a spaceman. He's an astronaut. And, oh, he can't be taken seriously doing those two.
Right. Not everyone wants to see an athlete that's multidimensional. You see LeBron get a lot of criticism because he's obviously a world-renowned athlete, but he's in so many other sectors and flourishing at him. So people criticize him. He's like, well, why is he doing all this? Because no one wants to see an athlete that has more skills than just being an athlete, who's a world-renowned athlete and then also might be the smartest guy in any room he walks into. No one wants to see that. So all they do is try to downplay it. All they do is, feed into ignorance and try to break you down. But at the end of the day, you don't care about other people's opinions. You know who you are. You know what you've accomplished, whether it's on the football field, in the classroom, in the community, and you just let your resume do the talking. And so all the naysayers, hearsay, whatever they have, it's just ignorance. I just turn my other cheek to it, turn a blind eye to it, don't see it, don't hear it, and I just move on with my day.
And I find that, I'm not, the social media thing drives me nuts. We get that at 50 years of age. I'm not good at it. You know how I make my workouts with a piece of paper and a pen. And, I don't even, you got to help me with certain things. But my business page of the Petrone training, if you looked at it, it actually represents and it tells who you are.
Right.
So with yours, when I always look at yours, it's always, it's either training or you're off somewhere doing something space oriented. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of cool what you do because it's like you're putting it out there. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you're putting it out there as I'm not embarrassed of wanting to be a space guy.
Right. I just want to show my fans, my followers, what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis. If it's in season, show them the grind.
Right. You can show them the fun.
Right. Show them the fun. Show them all aspects of life, you know? You have to enjoy it. You got to enjoy the process. You got to enjoy the journey. You have to enjoy the life that you've been blessed with. There's no reason to just put yourself in a corner and just work your little heart away until you're retired and you have nothing else to do with your life. You have no other passions, no other interests to get involved in.
Yeah, and it doesn't think that it doesn't look like you think about, oh, I got to put this on here so it represents what I'm doing. I got to put the Woodgym 5 days a week or IMG training 5 days a week. I mean, you put that on there, but I think you do it unconsciously, right? You're not trying to set it up to go sell myself looking like this, because I think you're the real deal of what I heard about you and then meeting you and then really developing a friendship with you. It's like he does a lot of things. He stays pretty active, and I don't know why people would hold that against you, or, Pittsburgh's drafting another quarterback. Oh, what do they, because I hear a lot of people come up to me now that they know we train together. It's like, what's Dobbs' future? What's he going to do? And I'm like, well, you guys really don't know what type of athlete he is, because he carries himself well and talks and he could, wherever we are, you're A class. You remind me so much of Chad Pennington, the way you handle your business and handle yourself, but like you're a hell of an athlete. I mean, you just worked out with Harrison Smith, the all-pro safety for the Vikings, and it was, mano a mano was perfect. I mean, you guys are almost the same size. You're even taller, same weight, just going after it. And I'm like,
competing, right?
All right, yeah. I mean, it's getting it done, but it's not like, oh, well, he can't be that athletic and smart and vice versa.
That's what they want you to think, right?
Because Harrison's just supposed to line everybody up because he doesn't fit the normal role of a defensive back in the NFL.
Right.
And that's not how it is.
Yeah, that's what they want you to think. They want you to think like, oh, you can't do this and this. You can't be aerospace engineer and a all SEC QB at the same time, So that's their opinion, and usually their opinion doesn't matter. Usually that's why they're probably not really doing much with themselves right now, and that's why you're enjoying life and taking it all in and just enjoy opportunities as they come. So just keep being yourself.
So I think more since, you got to the pros, you think it would be like, what I see is more hands like, all right, Dobbs is in the pros. Do you think you had more positive affirmation as a University of Tennessee quarterback than in the pros of like, oh, he's going to make was he third string? Is he going to make a backup? Is he going to, instead of like, you're the baller at UT and all of a sudden the transition changes. How does that settle for you? How do you adapt to that?
So obviously it's a process. It's really different when it's kind of like your first time not being the starting QB. So, but to have a great role model such as Ben, to grow in your role from rookie year to your second year, obviously it's a great feeling. And I think, obviously people are going to have your skepticisms. If you haven't played in a while because you have a Hall of Fame quarterback in front of you, it just comes with the territory. So, but I've been able to enjoy the process, take it all in, kind of turn, the pros are much different. In college, you kind of walk around campus, so you can feel like the city, you can feel everyone's opinions, you kind of sit on your shoulder, almost weigh you down in some instances. Mm-hmm. In the pros, you're so isolated into what you're doing. You're only around people of the profession, so you're only around those people, only in those situations. So you don't really feel the outside against criticism or outside really anything. You're kind of in your own world, doing your own thing, preparing for the season, and just trying to put your best foot forward when you get on the field.
So when you got to the pros, did you feel like you always hear the college guys going, oh, snaps, man, the game is a lot faster at this level. Did you feel like I got this, or I'm going to have to settle in, this is coming at me really fast?
Obviously, there's an adjustment page. The biggest speed of the game goes from high school to college. In the NFL, college to NFL, the guys are just as fast. Obviously, it's top athletes, but the mentality, the mindset, the football intelligence of the people you're competing against is much higher in the NFL. For instance, in college, DB sits 8 yards off. You run a 5-yard hitch. You'll be able to complete it 4, 5, 6 times in a row before he ever scoots up or makes a play on the ball. NFL, you might complete it once. If you complete it once, the second time, the dude's going to be sitting all over it. So you kind of have to study the game, study each individual players even more. Be ahead of them mentally so you're able to attack them once you get on the field.
Interesting. Yeah, that's kind of cool. So in your third year, you take your off season, take me through your off season because you're the type of guy that bounces around so much. So how do you put your training? I'm training you totally different than when I train a Harrison, because he's an 8-year vet, and his body's different and he understands it and had him since 8th grade. We're in our third year. My loads for you are a little bit more intense.
Right.
But how do you also, do you conduct your, I tell all my guys to make sure your off season is like your in season of take care of these things, take care of these things. I mean, it seems like you have a pretty good balance. Do you write up your schedule like when you finish your games of like, okay, I'm taking this cruise and I'm going to train with Chaz this way and I'm going to go down to IMG this way and I'm going to see my guy in Atlanta that I've had like since a Harrison like with me.
Right.
Okay, do you put that all on the schedule or is it more like let's play it by ear? I know what I see with you is like you really don't. You call me and go, hey, I'm going to be up this time. You got room for me or whatever.
Right. So by the time the season ends, probably a week after, whenever it ends, my off season is pretty planned out. Like I know what week I'm doing vacation, already booked. I know what I guess other opportunities I'm doing, whether it's just with NASA, with Fanatics, internships with the NFLPA. I know when I'm traveling, what weekend trips I'm doing. So it's pretty laid out. And I know that no matter where I am, I want to work out 4 to 5 times a week based on the week, based on my travel schedule. So that's why I'm always texting you like, hey, like, I know I'm working out boom, boom, boom these days. So I know which 2 weeks I'm going to IMG to get some throwing in. I know which weeks I'm in Atlanta, working out down there and working out with my guy there. So I know which weeks I'm in Knoxville. So everything's pretty planned out. Obviously, some things change, different things come up, but the plan's set in stone. So then from there, you're just like, I have flights. My flights in January were booked all the way through April. So everything's planned out, ready to go. So you're not stressed out with everything going on. Obviously, I have a great support system that helps me plan that out.
Right.
So it's definitely a action-packed first week to get it all planned out and figure out what we're doing throughout the off season. But once the plan is set in stone, then it's just go time. It's when you're off, and when you're on, you're on.
I mean, you always seem like you're on the move. I mean, and I feel like with the NFL guys I train, that's more of a trend. I mean, that's coming a lot more than what it used to be. It's not like somebody hunkers down for 6 to 8 weeks with me anymore. It's like 2 weeks in, then I'm off to here, and then I'm back to here, and then I kind of like it. I think it's, again, like telling the high school athlete to play more than one sport. I like that you move around and challenge. Even Emily, our little fitness freak, she does some CrossFit, she trains here or whatever, and some of the people come up to me and go, do you get offended or mad about that? I'm like, no, I like that they're challenging their bodies or minds or whatever, moving around. It seems like you're still like, you're doing so much, and then you still have time to think about, we pulled in the driveway one night from a UT basketball game, and you said you wanted to change air flight time, and then we got to talking about that, and that was pretty intense, and just sitting in the kitchen talking about, like, he's just not thinking this way about, I got to throw that 10-yard out, but you're thinking about this. But then people would think, since he's not thinking about that, he's not really in love with his sport, because he's also thinking about, we could do better with our airtime from Tennessee to California. Does that make sense?
I know exactly what you're saying.
I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, so I think it just tests your mind. You put your mind in different realms, it kind of pushes you to think in different ways. It helps the way you attack the football field. You see problems, you see obstacles differently than the other person, so you're able to attack them with a different mindset. I think when you're always on go and you're constantly going, you don't really have time. Obviously, you need some rest time, but you don't have time to just sit there and do nothing and get into that lull of laziness in the off season. Then when you're always on the go, it just pushes your overall endurance. You're always able to do stuff. You always have the energy. You're always peppy. So when you get up to Pittsburgh and you're sitting in your apartment, you go from 9 to 1 in the off season, and then you're sitting in your apartment all day. That's your rest time. That's your break time. And that's your time to really hone in on, hey, let me be the best Steeler I can possibly be. But you got to enjoy the off season, so when you get back, you're rested, refreshed, and ready to attack the field.
So when you feel like when you're at the Woodgym training, do you go, man, I'm itching to get back down to IMG and embrace that atmosphere? Or when you're at IMG, I can't wait to get back home to Atlanta, be at home, mom and dad, and then still throw there? Is it nice to go, all right, I'm craving back in Knoxville? I mean, I'm not asking you which one you like better. I'm just asking you, like, do you get enough of one and go,
I'm good?
Okay, I'm good.
I'd say I just live in the moment. I know I said, like, I have the schedule all laid out, but honestly, I really don't even look at it. I kind of know what's coming up, and I just stay in the moment. You start looking ahead, you kind of get, like, stressed out, like, oh, I got to do this.
I mean, it seems like, Josh, and I covered a lot, and I've trained a lot of athletes in 28 years, and it seems like you're the guy that's always enjoying the moment where you are. Like, I like watching you. I mean, I'm one of the pieces to your puzzle, and I like that. I don't have to be the guy. It's like, yeah, he trains with me and he trains there and he does that, and it's like, oh, where is he today? Oh, look at it. And I like your little stories where you're on the field at IMG throwing, and I like you're in Atlanta doing your stuff. And I watched 2 or 3 days ago, you were getting ready to do stuff on the turf, and you asked the trainer, hey, what we got today, and he brought you through stuff or whatever. That makes me feel good. I'm not like, oh, he should be up here and he needs to be here or whatever. It's like, that's kind of cool that oh, what is he doing? You know, and then you're like, okay, I'll be up there that time. It's like you keep it on a constant circle. It never stops. It doesn't. Here's what I was trying to get at. It doesn't seem like it's a grind. It seems like it's fun.
Yeah.
And that's what I try to promote in here to everybody. If it's not fun,
you're in the wrong business.
Don't do it because you're not going to be good at it, and vice versa. It's just not worth it. Pick something else.
Right.
You know, and I feel like you're doing the fun part of it's not the grind, and look at me grinding, and look at me, you know, pushing this car in the parking lot. Look at me, you know, and I'm not jamming anybody that's doing that. It's just like that. You're just like, I'm having fun with it. And I think that's your whole take on everything you do. You never come in, you remind me of Chad. You're very constant with your emotions. You know, you never like even stuff that is affecting you. It really doesn't affect you. You know, I think you don't sweat the small stuff.
There's no reason to. Too much time in the day, too much things to get done to sweat on the small details. So that's exactly what you said. I just want to keep it fun. I'm enjoying life as it's coming.
But how do you keep it like that? I mean, I know you're a Christian, a Christ follower, and that's your walk. I mean, is that your center? I mean, is that how you start every day of what you're doing?
I think two things. Obviously, my Christian background helps a ton, especially when you're going through various obstacles, just being able to fall back on them and just having that relationship with God. And the second thing, honestly, I think like having alopecia like throughout college, like really has helped my mindset. Because, you know, you go through college and you're losing hair at like 18 years old. Like that's when everyone's like trying to grow their hair out, like get it twisted up, your first time away from home. You're losing hair every time you get a haircut. I think that right there kind of affects your mindset. It's like, wow, like internet trolls might be making fun of me. I might see stuff around campus, and it might be good and fun, but people don't know how it's affecting me. So it just truly teaches you to have self-confidence, to just believe in yourself, to just trust the process, to just enjoy being who you are, enjoy being who God created you to be, and just go out and try to be a positive influence on the world.
So do you feel like, that's great that you brought that topic up. I mean, those are two great topics. And do you feel like you develop tough skin with it, or do you feel like, screw it, I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to embrace my flaws and make those my gifts that, you know, Jesus gave me. It's for a purpose. I can't sweat it. I can't stop whatever's going on. You know how like people go, I was scared of water, so the first thing I want to do is get over that fear. So I embrace that like my blankety blank, and I went after it and I stayed in it. You know what I'm saying? Water was going to be my friend. You weren't going to break me. Do you feel like, I feel like I take the approach on stuff now is people should embrace their negative emotions or whatever's in their life, embrace it so you could hit it head on. Is that how you would, more tough skin or more embrace it?
I think it's a mixture of both. I think it's kind of the analogy, like when you talk to any pastor, they say, I met one last night, he said, I was terrified of public speaking till I got on the stage and just started doing it. So it's kind of like you know what your, I guess, obstacles are, you know what your fears are, and you're able to take those head on. You know, my fear was just simply like just walking around campus, like with a receding hairline, like something so simple.
Right.
But then you find the positive and you're like, wow, I haven't paid for a haircut since freshman year in high school. So it's like, it's all about your mindset. It's all about how you view the situation. It's all about how you view the obstacle. If you have a positive mindset with it, and it's like, you know, let's just have fun with it. Like whatever happens, happens. You know, I'll just be me, and God has a plan. You know, his plan for me was to be bald at 21. Oh well, we'll make the most out of that opportunity.
And again, you know, and gosh, we could talk forever, but I just want to, your day in, day out schedule. Like even yesterday, you just talked about, when I had to do this public speaking thing, you're always on the go. I mean, even here, your off season isn't your off season because you have, you know, you're Josh Dobbs from University of Tennessee, and there's so many things that, you know, people are pulling you in so many different directions of speaking engagements. You know, last night, after a full day of training, and you had to do this meeting and then come back and train the second time. The first time we broke for lunch for 30, 40 minutes. You're working your phones, you know, you got everything going. Then a car, you know, backs in the driveway, picks you up, shoots you off to where, Nashville, Cookville, wherever it was. You know, you're doing a speaking engagement, then you're coming back home, then you're getting rest, and you're waking back up.
Or back to the grind.
Yeah, people don't see that.
They don't see that.
And that's what we talked about, too, when you do amazing things on the field, or Harrison does amazing things on the field, or any of the many athletes that I've worked with. everybody's like, oh, that's amazing. No, what's amazing is the off-season work they do, not what they're actually producing. Like, can you believe Harrison was a Pro Bowler? Can you believe Pennington was a Heisman Trophy? No, I can believe that. That's
how they prepare.
Yeah, that's how they prepare. It's like the preparation is what I can't believe, how they take time to make sure they get their training in, and it's not all about, showing the other styles of life. This is what's, I make it fun. The Woodgym's fun. It's kind of cool of like, this is fun stuff, you know, and we get a lot of good work in, and it's hard, but it's still, I try to make it as fun as possible.
What makes it fun is that you come here as a totally different atmosphere than any other gym you'll walk into, probably in this world. You come in, you walk in the summer, if it's 90 degrees outside, it's 100 degrees in here. Come here in the winter, if it's 20 degrees outside, it's 10 degrees in here. Yeah. So you're forced to work in the elements.
Yeah,
you got to
adapt and adjust.
Correct.
Yeah.
And usually, like, you walk into a gym, it's packed. You can barely, get on a platform, get your stuff in. There's people all around you. You come in here, there's at most 10 people in here working out. Everyone's doing their own lift, but everyone all has that same grind, that same mindset. So it kind of pushes you to come in here, get your energy up, and be ready to attack the workout. And you make workouts extremely hard on a day.
And I don't know how. I just write them down on a piece of paper. I have no clue what the hell I'm doing. But, and that's the reason. I'll wrap it up with one more thing. I know, because we got to do a part 2 with him, sometime we get back. But, like, I made this podcast, and I developed it for, I think, all the people in the gym, just so you talked about the Woodgym and all the type 8 personalities, that it's never enough. They keep moving the goalposts further back to keep charging, and what's next? I know, again, that you'll probably say that's a balance, but how is that a balance of, like, always trying to get better, but then also the biggest problem I have is the athlete doesn't take time to reflect and go, man, I hit some great goals, you know, and I talk about this every year, whatever, if I'm doing a show for somebody else, is the NFL Combine, because it's never enough. Like, if I have a guy running a 4.5, he was like, oh, I wish I could did a 4.4. And it's always like, boy, that to walk around all the time thinking I never achieved my best, or, I wish I could do this. That's got to be a hard way to walk, especially when you put everything into it. And nobody slaps themselves on the back and goes, man, I did a good job. How do you balance that? Because, again, everybody in here, it is the eye of the tiger. I came up with that years and years ago of like, they're all driven. You're in here with the Harrison Smiths, the Jimmy Haslams, the Browns owner, you're Todd Helton. You're in here with all the studs that are trying to get better. They're still trying to get better. How do you also go, man, I did good today, and I could put my feet up for 5 or 10 minutes and actually, as we say, reflect of what we did?
I think it's tough. It's honestly tough. Like, I wish we went undefeated my junior, senior year in college. Yes, definitely. I think about it almost every single day. So, I mean, it's tough. Like, you got to juggle, you got to walk that fine line of accepting like what you've done, and then having the regret of what you could have done. I think that's definitely a tough line. I think it just comes with time and just understanding yourself, and just understanding that, at least for me, like, everything, whenever I step foot into the Woodgym, step foot into the classroom, step foot on the football field, I know I'm going 100%. So I never have to regret the effort I gave. So I think if you go 100%, you put it all out there every single time, then of course some of the results won't go your way, but you can never look back at yourself and say, I wish I could have gave it a little bit more. I think that's what helps you live with those moments and sit back and reflect of what decisions got made to change the result, but at least I gave it 100%, 110% effort when I stepped on the field.
All right. I got another one for you. I could keep going. This is awesome. I know our engineer gets frustrated. She wants to do something else, but I love this. Are you a goal guy?
A goal guy.
Goal guy. Or do you write down your goals? Do you cheat? I don't even know if that's one of the things that people do anymore that are so like, okay, I got to make this many starts. I got to throw this many passes. I got to do that. I don't know if it's the money thing. I never hear that with the best of the best people. It's not like I got to make this much or I got to do this. Nobody in here talks about that. It's all unconscious and competent. They don't think about it and they do it well.
Right.
Oh my gosh. Like, I never recruit for NFL Combine, and people call on the phone and go, hey, can you get, and I'm like, cool. And they're like, oh, how do you market? Or I'm like, I don't. I just do my job.
Well, and it comes around.
and I can't worry about that. Is that more like, do you write your goals down? Do you, the journal thing? I talk to a lot of athletes on the podcast about that. Do you keep a journal of, okay, man, check. Oh, I got to get back on that one. I didn't do well on that one.
I kind of started doing a journal. I wouldn't say I write my goals down. And the only reason is it's like the cliche question that someone asks, like, hey, what do you want to be in 10 years? You can say whatever you want. But at the end of the day, if you're just focused on or just looking at the big picture, like, oh, I want to be this in 10 years, you forget all the steps that takes to get there in 10 years.
Right.
So if you focus on the process, you focus on the steps to get there, in 10 years, you might have far exceeded those expectations you had for yourself 10 years ago. So I think I'm not a big, like, hey, let me write down the goals. Because at the end of the day, that doesn't change your mental mindset. That doesn't change what you're doing on a daily basis to achieve those opportunities. Yeah, I have goals in the back of my head. I know what I want to accomplish. I know what I feel like is my purpose for life. But at the end of the day, I'm not writing down, like, I want to throw this many touchdown passes. Because at the end of the day, like, every game's going to be different. Mm-hmm. Some games it might take you to 8 touchdown passes. Some games you might not have any, but we rush for 5 touchdown passes. So you have those goals, you start getting a little selfish but if you just trust the process, trust your team, trust the people around you, and just constantly push to improve on each day, whatever expectation you have, you'll blow them out of the water. That's how I feel, at least.
And if you think about it, the goals, I study that too, is the goal, training for the goal is actually the goal.
Right.
Like, that's what makes you, if you notice, you've gotten better just
training,
going towards your goal, training for your goal, and it's really not the goal.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's the art of the deal or whatever it is. It's all the juice is the juice. The work is the goal, and then all of a sudden everything falls into place.
It's like the analogy, like you go to colleges and everybody runs 110s. They have their goal times like 18 seconds, right? So, like, the fastest kid, because you told him the goal time of 18 seconds, he's going to cross at 18 seconds because that's the time. He's not just going to run the 110 as fast as he can.
Right.
It's like you're going to, like, if that goal, like, you don't know if that goal is too short or too high. Mm-hmm. So if it's too short, you're only going to hold yourself to that goal. Whereas if you just run as fast as you can every single time, you're probably running 16, 15 seconds consistently. Right. And then you can go from there. So if you say, hey, I did it like this today, tomorrow let's run it faster. Let me improve.
Yeah.
I think if you do it that way, that's better. But if you just say, I want to do this, you're not really focused on the process.
And that makes sense because, the mountain bikers I train out in the woods, I'll do that mental experiment with them and go, hey, let's just ride today. Let's just flow through the woods and see how it goes. Let's not time anything, turn off your timers or whatever. And then in the back, I turn my timer on. Mm-hmm. And the kid always has the best flow ride, the best time. And I'm like, it's almost
not constantly looking down. Like,
right. You're not checking that, like you're not chasing the time. Mm-hmm. You're just
chasing your best.
Yeah. You're just training. Yeah. I mean, exactly. And I teach the same thing with the 40s is don't think about the time, just run. If we work 6 or 8 weeks, it's already there. Just run. You can't go, I need to run that because then you're going to change everything of how you run.
Right.
Does that make sense?
I'm exactly with you.
Yeah. And I know working with Luke Hochaver, the pitcher for the Kansas City Royals, it's the same thing. It's like, I don't try to throw 94, 97. I just throw, and all of a sudden people are like, you're throwing 94, 97. Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
Now can I move it? Now can I keep it over the plate? And then you start putting more into it. Then I have to throw this, and I get that with kids in here all the time. It's like, Billy needs to throw 88 he's a junior in high school. And I was like, let's just train.
Like, if Billy's throwing, no one's hitting him, he'll be fine.
He'll be fine because that's like, fast looks fast.
Right.
You don't have to put it to a clock. You'll be like, that's fast. Or that's fast on the field. Or that moves around.
Right.
That's how I would look at it.
Yeah.
All right. I guess we'll wrap it up. We're all hungry. Josh is wants one more rapid Dunkin' Donut. That's not enough. But I do enjoy my water from Carrie, my Planet H2O water. Carrie, we got to get Dobbs on this. He likes the water too. That's so let's get everybody on the water. And I'm feeding it to everybody. I mean, like I said,
it's good stuff.
People are walking out with cases, and some of the guys are too big and strong, so I can't stop. Just let them have the case.
Let them have it, right?
I'll invoice them later that month. All right, Josh, I love you, man, and I want to catch back up. Hopefully in the summer we could do it again, and you could see how OTAs went, and it's a whole different transition now that some of the big players are gone from the
Right.
Steelers, and we could talk about all that. That'd be awesome. I love you, and I thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to doing this and being a friend and a brother, part of my family. You know, I dump on you, I think, more than you come to me with problems. I got more problems, and you sit there and listen to them like a Christian type man. It's awesome. Thanks for coming into my life. I appreciate it.
I always love you too. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
having me.
I love you. Bye-bye.